Welcome to that spiritual, actual, factual answers to questions you're asking. You find them inside you, recite you, reciting the records of cash. We laughing, we drafting the passion to bury. It's time for that comedy, dramedy, all of the fanciest, catchiest acronyms. Listeners, listen, we traveling. Conscious is always unraveling. The reading you're having is mapping you back to your natural habitat. Abracadabra, it's magic, let's basking it. To top it off, the host, all the classiest. Now, what were you asking for? All of the answers? What? All the answers.
Morning, it's so early for you. It's so early for you.
Oh boy. Morning. Not as bad as yesterday, but actually today was harder. So I don't understand it. It's an hour later and an hour harder. Full disclosure, I'm going to have to pause at one point and literally move my laundry from the washer to the dryer because my time is weird today. So
no worries. I have to pee every time we talk.
You should just catheter up.
Oh, God.
Or get diapers.
If that I could do, but then you'd have to hear me narrating it. I'd be like, oh, I'm peeing right now.
And you'd be making as much intense eye contact as you could. That's one of my favorite joke images. Not something I necessarily want, but I love the hilarity of that image of I'm peeing now, staring into your just this is happening.
I feel that way. I think it's worse with feces.
Well, sure. That
everything's worse with feces.
The pee thing is actually cute and funny and could not be off-putting,
threatening,
right? But the poop, no, look at me, look at me, honey, come in here, open the door,
watch
at
this.
me, look at my eyes, look at my eyes.
It smells like poop. Is something happening? That
just reminds me of this random story of a thing that happened one time when we were, we met this band that was on the way up. They were managed by Clint Eastwood's wife.
Okay.
It's a weird story. Met him in a bar in Carmel, this band called Overtone.
Interesting.
And they were telling us stories of Clint Eastwood. And they'd met him because he was down in they were a South African, pretty much all white South African. What's the word? When you don't have music, you are called
a cover band?
No, when you don't have instruments, you are a-cappella.
A-cappella.
They were like an a-cappella, rock-a-pella kind of a thing called Overtone. Look them up. They were sweet. They were nice guys. There's a whole story there, but the main thing I wanted to say is apparently they met Clint and his wife when they were in South Africa filming the movie with Matt Damon about rugby players. Can't remember the name. Invictus.
Okay.
And so they ended up on set a lot and were helping Matt and other people to get a decent white South African accent, right?
This is there's so many.
And this has to do with Matt Damon in a huddle at the, we gotta win this, guys, because it's a sports movie, right? So huddles are important.
Huddles are a thing.
And Matt Damon going, look in my ass, look in my ass. And they're like, that's not quite how you say it, Matt. You're telling him to look in my ass. See how it's all connected to our little joke there?
I got it. So wait, you mean that the actual South African humans off camera were saying to the actor, don't say it that way because it sounds like ass?
Yeah.
Okay. You don't mean in the scene.
He was doing it in the scene and they had to raise their hand and be like, Matt, sorry.
Ass doesn't work.
Ass doesn't work. I don't think you're saying what you mean there.
Don't think this word means. What do you think this word means?
Well, the reason we met him is we were in this bar in Carmel. We were doing a show down there, and these guys we're like, what accent language are they? It was the language because they were speaking to each other, and we were like, it's not German quite. It's not Dutch quite. It's and we're around the edges of it, trying to listen in, and identify who these dudes were because they were all really well dressed and cute as hell, and hey, we're here in this really small town. Anyway,
got it.
We struck up a conversation, and they were like, "That's Afrikaans is the language."
Cool. What show was it that you were doing?
What do you mean, what show? Oh, we were doing The Country Wife 100 years ago.
Wow. Yeah, that seems like it would be 100 years ago.
It was 100 years. And when I used to be an actor, remember back in those days when I was an actor, be hired to be in plays.
Yep, I do. Have you been attempting to be hired in plays lately?
I've put myself back into I took a little break from trying to audition and stuff and putting myself out there, and took a little break. And then just recently started doing it again. Just had a live Zoom audition with some company in Florida.
Oh, that's cool. Which company in Florida? I know some of them.
Palm Beach Playhouse.
All right.
And it wasn't like a real, it was like a general call. It was like you pop on and do a friggin' monologue for them for 3 minutes and then pop off.
Uh-huh.
But it was live instead of sent in. And whatever. They were nice. They were very kind and present.
I hear you. Well, it's related. I'm about to take a trip down to, I don't know if I told you this yet, but I'm going to Wilmington, North Carolina for 3 nights.
No, what for?
Yes. And then Jacksonville, Florida for 2 nights. And then Sarasota, Florida for 5 nights. Track me, bitches. For vacation.
Wait. Wilmington, I'm going to be honest. I spaced out the middle one.
It's okay. Jacksonville,
Sarasota.
Sarasota. Yep. And
so 2 Floridas, 1 North Carolina.
Correct. Mostly because I've been for about 3 months deeply desperate for the sun and the beach.
Okay.
And I just couldn't make the timing work between COVID and whatever else I was dealing with. But then my dad and his wife and my stepsister are meeting in Sarasota. He got my stepsister and I a room, very generous of him.
Nice.
And so we get to go fucking frolic on the beach. So what I'm trying to do is book all my people, my clients and stuff before I go and for after I go, so that I can actually have an actual vacation that isn't like me working and calling it a vacation because I'm in a different spot, which is what I do a lot.
Right.
So anyway, that's really fun.
That's awesome. I'm excited.
I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Okay, so you're going with family in Sarasota, but do the other two have more intent behind them?
Yes. Can you guess knowing me, what it might be about?
Is there vitamin D involved? Well, you're getting vitamin D in Sarasota with the sun.
There's not yet any vitamin D involved.
Okay.
In terms of penises.
Thank you for clarifying for our listeners.
Just for the listening audience.
As we learned in our last episode, it's important to make sure we're talking about the same thing when we want to proceed.
Exactly. Otherwise, how do we know? Vitamin D could just mean sunshine.
Which is one thing it means.
Crass and horrible. No. So no vitamin D. What else could it be if it's me?
Attending a woo conference.
Oh, that's a really good guess. I'll almost just give it to you. That's not true. You get all the points.
Well, then those are the only 2 things you're interested in is getting D.
Oh my God.
And talking to the spirit people.
And espresso.
Are you going to an espresso convention?
No, there's one more. You know me. You've met me.
Okay.
I'll give you a hint.
Yeah, I need one because.
Yeah, in the last 3 years.
You're moving again?
Well, I'm looking.
You're looking at Wilmington, North Carolina and.
Parts of Florida.
Jacksonville, Florida?
Well, that's just to see my sister because we're going to go down to Sarasota together.
Okay.
But astrologically, there's some interesting shit for me in Jacksonville.
Okay.
I know.
Wow. I have feelings about that.
Everybody does.
They're slightly judgy, and I'm saying them out loud so that you understand.
Well, I know, and I have to tell you, when I'm talking with my friends who don't judge me.
Oh, they don't
about
exist.
It,
they don't exist.
I think they do. They're like,
I don't judge you.
I've been hearing myself say a lot, like when I look at what would stop me from going, there's 3 things. Other people's judgments, which I don't actually believe in choosing from that, but I'm just saying. Yeah. That's what's up in my psyche.
Yeah, we got to acknowledge it because I do that all the time. I do that more than you do, but by far.
Totally hear you. And it's up for me. I'm like, all right, everyone I know is going to think I'm fully insane if I do that. Yeah. So, okay, get ready for that. They already do. All right, I'm okay. Here we go. Like, it's okay, you know? And then number 2 would be like just the fucking hassle of it. Just the items and the boxes.
Yeah, that's the part I would be like.
The hassle of it. No, but see, that doesn't also, I'm like, we're looking for fulfillment and joy in life. I'm not going to not pursue fulfillment and joy for the sake of because it's going to be uncomfortable for a day and a half. Yeah. I just can't get behind that. But I understand it, and it is annoying, and I don't feel like doing it. Let's be real. I don't want to fucking do that shit. And number 3 is just wanting to be not having a reactive moment and making a crazy rash decision out of reactivity.
Out of, oh, it's cold this winter and I don't like that or whatever it is.
Which cold is a real thing. And it goes on for so long out here that like, it's like for real.
Well, you moved from one cold place to another cold place. You left a warmish place.
No, I totally did.
To go to two very cold wintry places.
But the first cold place I went, I did not feel upset about the cold. I felt like, wow, look at this beautiful snow, because it's a very different kind of winter. Very different.
It is. It's very dry. It's a very dry winter.
And sunny. By noon every day, the snow was melting and you were walking outside with a t-shirt in the dead of winter.
Okay.
This shit is not that.
It settles in.
Okay, anyway, I don't want to have to defend, but what I'm saying is...
You don't have to.
I appreciate you. Is that none of those reasons are great for staying. They're not great. I don't believe in any of one of those as a real reason. Oh, wait, there's one other reason. Actual friendships that I'm forming here, like relationships matter.
There you go.
And that one has really started to sink in and be like, right, I have Libra North Node, people matter, I care about people. Because I'm coming from Aries South Node, meaning I'm the most independent, dude on your own, make it happen now kind of lady. But my second half of life leans toward like community, connection, beauty, friends, family, which is like not what I'm familiar with, prioritizing.
Yeah.
So now I'm going like, well, shit, you made some friends. Like, you're going to fucking leave your friend. So I do not have it figured out. I do not have an answer, and I'm okay with that. And so I'm taking this trip to be like, let's feel into this energy and explore it as a possibility without getting married to it.
What about
let's just go on a date with it.
Yeah. The other thing I would add is that one of the things I think you are kind of enjoying about where you are is your proximity to the creative media and performance community, whereas this other choice would probably not be that. But please tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think you might be wrong, but I'm going to find out and let you know, because here's why. Tons of TV and film shoot in Wilmington and always have. Yeah, there's like a whole...
How close is it to Atlanta? Anywhere?
Film
near?
Community. It's pretty close. Let's look it up.
I have no idea. I don't know. I'm the worst geographer of people I know.
Me too. Very bad at it. Let's look real quick. We're going to go...
Like, show me a map of states, and I'll be like, New Mexico, California, Nevada, Utah, Colorado. Otherwise, I don't know. Anybody's guess.
Atlanta.
Texas. Oregon and Washington. That's it.
6 hours. 6 hour drive.
Oh, okay. Not close.
Oh my God. That's like a fart in the wind. Are you kidding me? 6 hours? I do that every other weekend.
Is there a train?
Probably.
Maybe.
But you know what's cool? Looking at the map, it's directly due west of it.
Yeah. I mean, just Atlanta's Atlanta's New Hollywood from what I gather.
Yeah. Now, Wilmington is like secret Hollywood. Like, think about it this way. Cape Fear was shot there. Like, a ton of commercials you're not aware of are shot there.
Cape Fear was like 25 years ago.
100,000 years ago. I understand. But I'm saying there is an industry, and it does exist. Also, it just feels like Cassidy, beach town. Beach town.
Is it? That's cool.
Yeah, it's right on the beach.
Wait.
I'm from Miami.
Wait, now I'm confused. And then due west is...
Atlanta.
I thought Atlanta was close to the coast.
No, it's inland.
What do I know?
Well, it's 6 hours close.
Yeah, no,
Wilmington is legit. It's an artsy, creative town on the beach, which is why I'm interested in it.
Okay, that's kind of awesome. I love it already.
Yeah, it has UNCW, UNC. It has a college with letters. Like University of North Carolina, Wilmington is there. My favorite solo show performer ever, Danny Hawk, went to UNC. Lots of creative shit, lots of theater. So it's appealing.
That sounds like a fun place to visit. I keep not quite making it to the places you keep living. I'm like, oh, no, you left. I'm going to come Oh, no, you left. I'm going to come visit you. Oh.
That's what.
I mean, a bunch of it was during COVID, so I wasn't traveling.
Fair enough. That's what Kat said, too. She's like, I really was excited to visit that Colorado town. And I'm like, well, you got to keep up with my speed.
I like to pack up.
Fast lady. Zip, zip, zoom.
I wonder if maybe you don't this time get so much permanent furniture.
What do you mean?
Scale down whatever it is you're going to unpack and just, or live where you're living and enjoy it. That's great.
No, 1,000,000%. I thought the same thing. One thought I've had is it's all going to go in storage. and then my body is liberated and can go, maybe it's 6 months here, 6 months there, and all the furniture is in a storage unit.
And also all that the furniture you've been buying is actually just for your staging business anyway.
Well, it is.
Ultimately, even your personal furniture is like, yeah, you know what? That's going into storage.
Oh, fuck yeah. I would use any of this.
Just get yourself like a futon and a cot wherever you move next.
No, I'll take some of it, but I'll leave some of it. We'll see. We have to see. Listen, I need to acknowledge, we have to look at a few things here. And I wanted to look at your human design chart today. How do you feel about that idea?
Great. Love it.
Okay, great. Now, we have to acknowledge some things. I have what's called a lot of individual channels in my chart, which is like, I am a lady who is going to march to the beat of her own blah, blah, blah forever. I don't have a lot of communal channels or tribal channels. We're going to look at, channels is the wrong word, but anyway, we're going to look at yours. I have a theory that you and Rami are probably have communal channels or tribal ones, probably tribal ones. There are 3 different kinds of circuitry you can have in human design. Individual circuitry means you're pretty self-centered, and there's a lot of judgment around that in this world, and you're pretty like into your own growth and development and your own life and your own thing. If you have tribal circuitry, you're like about the tribe. If you have collective, it wasn't communal, sorry. If you have collective circuitry, you're about the collective, which is actually different from the tribe. So anyway, I want to pull yours up and look at it, because part of what I think happens for me is like, I'm getting the understandable judgments from tribal folks about individual moves.
Oh, interesting. What you're describing, I feel like almost directly correlates to, I've been talking more and more lately about the instinctual variance in Enneagram and understanding especially what they call syntony or one-to-one or sexual.
Yes.
Which is not what it is. It's more, I think that might be tribal, which is different than community, right? Or collective. So if we were to correlate each of those, so the 3 instinctual variants are sexual, social, and self-preservation.
Right.
So if we correlated them to what you're describing of these 3 channels, we have.
I see.
We have self-preservation is the individual channel.
Correct. Right.
And community or collective would be social, because the social is about, social means, basically if we thrive, if everyone thrives, I thrive.
Got it.
Or, my focus is on the thriving of the community.
Right.
Outside of myself. But that the weird one is the sexual one. It's hard to nail that one down.
Right.
Because it's actually about sort of seducing and this has judgment in it, so we have to worry about that. But seducing those near you so that you are taken care of.
Correct.
It's kind of like a blend of the two. So that's tribal. That's keeping your safe shape
you are
near you.
Hitting on exactly what I'm in love with, where the more I study each of these things, it's like, holy shit, it is all the motherfucking same. Like, in other words, I get to know my astrology better and it matches my human design. I get to know my human design, it matches my Enneagram. It's wild.
And like, it also speaks to like the Enneagram, has, a woo-woo nature to it and a spiritual nature to it, but it can also be divorced from that. It can live more just as like this is just how your personality develops. But there is that sort of ineffable, well, why does your personality develop that way?
Sure.
And so now we add a human design, which has an astrological and a sort of more ineffable by the sort of 3D.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, in the 3D way. So this is interesting. That's all. Just that like.
What is your birth date?
Here, I'm going to put it all in the chat.
All right.
For you.
Thanks. That way the world doesn't hear your birth date.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
And then here is my birth time. No, that's wrong. It's this. I think that's right.
Let's be sure it's right. Because remember we had that debacle where we pulled up.
Yeah.
You're pretty sure that's right?
Yeah.
That the minutes part is right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my point, I brought all this up because it's like, if one has a tribal or collective perspective, one might think an individual's behaviors are crazy.
Right.
And I have been programmed by the tribal world we live in. We live in a very tribal society.
Right.
So although we're switching in 2027 to being much more individual. Hold on. Can we mute this? Because I need to ask you your date. I need to ask a thing about the date. Wow.
Let me look at it. Can you
Yeah.
throw it up on, can you share the screen just because I've done this one and I just want to make sure that it.
This is fascinating, by the way, right here, what I'm looking at. Fascinating.
There you go.
I can't believe we haven't done this before. I have so much to say.
We've done it.
But not well, and not with this chart. And I know so much more now, so maybe that's why it feels like we haven't done it. Also, we had the wrong time and we didn't spend a lot of time with it.
Right. Look at how I only have 3 filled.
I know. I have so much to tell you. I don't think I've shared really how I'm like in a deep, deep series of classes right now. I'm taking like all these advanced human design classes. So like now I look at this and I know 900 things. Where I used to look at this chart and go like, oh, I know 3 things about what this means. So it's really exciting now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I could look at this and go, oh my God, Cassidy Brown. Now, what was the thing we were unsure of before? It was your birth time?
Yeah, we had put it in as 3:30 a.m., which made me a manifesting or the 2%.
The reflector.
One of the 2%. I was a reflector, and it was freaking everybody out. And you were freaking out, and
I was just like, what? I know 2 reflectors?
Denise was freaking out, and everybody was freaking out.
I'm freaking out, man. You are freaking out, man.
All right. Do you want to hear any of this? Because I don't want to tell you if it's going to be just like boring or annoying.
No, I love your analyses of things. It's fun.
Okay, fantastic. That's great. Okay, let me move this so I can see things of stuff about words. Where'd that go? I pulled it up already. All right, first of all, we're going to talk about your cross. All right, so they talk about in human design that the incarnation cross, this is like the moment of your birth. It's like an astrological alignment of what's happening right when you're born, creates many, many things. But one of the things that your birth creates is your incarnation cross. And right here, yours is, you could see right over here, right angle cross of Eden. So I'm just Googling the right angle cross of Eden and let's read it. It's just a paragraph. The cross speaks to like what your day-to-day waking life is. Like, what are you doing with yourself in the day-to-day? So you were thrown out of Eden, or at least that may be what birth felt like to you, which makes me think of your birth trauma story.
Yeah, I just thought of that.
Right?
I was thrown out.
Many who carry this cross enter the world reluctantly as the womb provides everything that is needed. Over time, you carry the energy to go out and explore the world and to live life. Ultimately, your energy is about exploration, not to make your way back to Eden, but to move forward and find a slice of Eden here on Earth and then share it with those around you. Okay? So
I can dig.
Yeah, sounds about, I mean, the throwing out part is like uncannily on point given your birth trauma, which that's very fun. All right, so that's your cross. Now, what's most relevant here is the inner authority, the strategy and authority. So you have emotional authority, which is fun. You and I both have that. And what that means for anybody listening and for us is that when you're trying to make a decision, the best course of action according to human design would be that you want to wait through your emotional wave. So you're going to get a really big high, yes, and then you're going to crash down and be like, nah, never mind. Then you're going to go back up a little. Yeah, maybe I will. I don't really want to. Yeah, but I want to, but I don't, but I do, but I don't. And then it kind of evens out into a gentler kind of emotionally chargeless, yeah, sure. Or not really.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah. Okay, great. And the reason you would wait through that wave is if they say like oftentimes if you choose from the height of the wave or the base of the wave, you're not actually clear yet. So oftentimes what will happen is people choose from the height of the wave. I'm so excited. We're going to do it. I can't wait. And then you do the thing. By the time the thing arrives, that let's say you're like, I'm so excited. I want to go to this concert. Right. And you say yes, you paid tickets and you're done. You don't wait through your wave. 2 weeks later, when it's time for the concert, you might be like, I don't actually care anymore, nor do I have the energy to go to that. And I wasted $400 on tickets, but now I guess I have to force myself to go because I spent money, and then you're in that whole thing.
Yeah. So that's hard because sometimes you have to plan ahead. In order to do a thing, you have to do make the choice.
And the human design argument would be that's all conditioning. And what you do is you do your best to wait as long as you can to have some clarity. You know, we can't be perfect and anal about it.
That very much tracks. Like, and also for me, based on the thing we were just discussing about like letting other people's opinions matter in your in your decision making. I think those highs and lows for me almost always come from a desire to please or a desire to do what someone wants me or not do what someone wants me to do.
Okay.
Thinking that other people, so those highs come from like, you're right, I should fucking do this. Or no. So it's always like, you're right, I shouldn't, or you're right, I should, as opposed to just what's my inner authority actually telling me.
I love it. Okay. Now get ready for some cool shit here, dude. This is to that point. Okay, to what you're saying. You have one.
I'm buckling up.
Strap in. Strap it on.
Slip it in. Strap on and slip it in. Whoa, that took a turn.
Can we have a new tagline for our podcast?
Strap it on and slip it in.
Slip it in. Lube it up. Strap it on. Slip it in. I like the idea that you're drinking straight Coca-Cola right now. Is that what that is?
No, it's black coffee, though.
Oh, I'm feeling mighty lonesome. I haven't slept a wink. I walk the floor and watch the door, and in between I drink black coffee. Thank you.
Oh, see, I sing and coffee in bed. Do-do-doom, do-do-doom-doom. There's a stain on my notebook where your coffee cup was. Do-do-doom. It's Squeeze, black coffee in bed.
Squeeze is on my lap right now.
Oh, yeah. You should listen to Squeeze the band.
Okay. Ding, ding, ding. All right. Now, here's the important depth, truthy things I need to tell you because I have the channel of depth in my chart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 open centers of 9. We only have 9. 6 of yours are open. What does that mean?
3 of them are closed.
Open centers, they're defined.
Right.
Yes. Thank you for fast math. Okay. The 6 open centers, anywhere you have an open center means you're conditionable by the outside world. Easily programmed, easily affected. You're going to have trouble with, I shouldn't say trouble with, but you'll have more flexibility, openness, availability to options in the places where you're open. But it's also places where they would say in human design not to ever listen to inside yourself in terms of making a decision because you have no reliable fixed way of functioning in that place.
Can you run through those centers like what's the sort of version of them?
Oh, I'm going to run through them. I'm going to run through them slowly because I'm also going to teach you the not self theme of each open center. And I'm going to teach you the freedom of each open center. So how you get yourself out of listening to them. But first things first, I want to say, so you have an open head, open ajna, open G center, which is where we have our what is my purpose? Where is myself? Am I lost? Am I found? You have an open ego, heart, you have an open spleen, and you have an open root. Now, here's something even more interesting about your open centers, Cass. You have 1, 2, and 3 open centers that are completely gateless, which means if you look at these guys, they have no gates coming off of them. See these little lines, the black lines and the red line?
Uh-huh.
You have no gates coming off of this open center, or this open center, or this open center. That's relevant in that when you have an open center with no gates coming off of it, they say you're completely done with that issue in this life. Done.
Sweet.
Not your issue, not to be paid attention to, useless to you, has nothing to do with you. So having a defined ego or will or heart center is useless. Splenic awareness, you got none. It's not even relevant in your reality. And the motor center of the root, nope, not for you. Now,
I need more detail about what those are.
I shall provide. What I'm going to give you is the not self theme of each of these open centers. So what we want to understand is that, I'm just opening this little document. Each open center, right? It has no consistent way of functioning for you. So the only energies or awarenesses or anything that are going to come through those open centers for you is going to be other people's stuff. So you just said, I'm trying to please them, or what do they want, or what is it? That's because you're so open. You have 6 open centers. Now, picture, if you imagine in your mind, I should just open my chart for you, but mine is the opposite. I have 3 open centers of 9. So 6 are defined. So I got a lot of fixed ways about me. You have a lot of open ways about you, right? Now we could judge both of those or not. Right. And this is one of the big practices of human design that I love about it. What I find so liberating is well, shit, man, it is what you are. So you're going to judge it or you're going to embrace it.
Right.
Okay. So when you have open centers, they have what's called a not self theme, which means when you're not functioning as yourself, it's happening in large part, oftentimes, because you're listening to the not self theme of an open center. So when you catch yourself listening to the not self theme of an open center, you could, if you chose, if you wanted more freedom, less drama, less suffering, more peace, you could choose to flip your attention into the quote, quote, freedom of the open center. So I'm going to give those to you now for the ones that you have. So for example, with the open head up here at the top, you have this open head. The suffering or the way to suffer with an open head is to be caught in the loop of, I can't figure it out. I got to figure it out.
Yeah. Okay. For sure.
So anytime you catch yourself going, I can't figure it out. I got to figure it out. You have the freedom, should you choose, and if you want peace, to flip it to, I am open to inspiration and free to not think. Because inspiration and thinking are different.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm open to inspiration and I'm free not to think. So you might say to yourself, well, if I don't think about my problems, how do I solve them? The answer would be come back to your inner authority. And for you, that's follow the emotional wave. Respond to life, follow the emotional wave. Cool. Open ajna. That's this guy right here. Next open center for Cassidy. The way to suffer with an open ajna, or to be in the not self theme of the open ajna, would be to feel anxious, believing in certainty and looking for it. I believe there's a thing called certainty and I'm going to find it. How do I be certain about this decision? Let's figure out certainly what is certain. Let me be certain about this. Okay. The way to get out of that is to be open-minded and free to be uncertain. So you just say to yourself, I'm free to be uncertain. I don't know.
Well,
I'm going to follow my strategy and authority.
The difference between head and ajna, that certainty versus that knowing or that mental knowing?
Thinking.
Thinking.
Yeah.
But certainty, is that more like knowing and gut, like kind of combined? Is that what that certainty, like what we would say?
No.
Like, I feel it. I know it in my gut.
That's this down here. You've got that defined solar plexus because you're a generator. So manifesting generators and generators always have a defined defined sacral center right here, this guy. And your sacral center, by the way, is connected directly to your throat. And that's what makes you a manifesting generator. That's a side topic. Point is,
right.
Gut knowing is something a generator has access to. But that is not certainty. Certainty would be the thing where in your head, you're like, I want to know for sure. Is God real or not? I want to know for sure. Is it 3D reality or 5D? I want to know for sure. Do I date them or do I not date them? What's the right thing? How do I for sure know? Like that.
So I release myself from that. And what's the opposite of that?
By leaning into, I have the freedom to be uncertain.
Well, that goes, I feel like I've embraced that with I always have my two hands thing where I'm just like, I both believe that and totally don't believe it at the same time. And I'm
1,000,000%.
okay with that.
Yes. Because you're free to be uncertain.
Yeah.
Because remember, we're looking at how do we have freedom and peace and empowerment for the individual?
Right.
We don't want to live from the not self theme. Have to figure it out. Have to think.
Yeah.
Have to be certain. We want to be free. And in your case, you've got 6 different ways to be free. Okay, let's move to the G center. Not self theme of the G center. The open G center is I'm lost and have no direction. The freedom of the open G center is you're free to be no one or anyone.
That's cool.
Yeah, you could be no one. Doesn't matter.
I mean, there's a lot of freedom in all of these. Like having fewer defined centers makes me feel like a lot more free.
Yeah, you get a lot of freedom inside there if you're willing to choose it.
Yeah.
Which most people aren't. Most people are like, no, I choose to suffer by believing I have to be certain and I have to think and I have to know who I am and find direction.
Now, were those defined, there would be a sense of like, no, it's good for you to know and be certain.
Well, okay, it's a big topic, but it's more like this. If you had a defined ajna, what that would mean is that involving that part of your mind in your decision-making process is going to be part of your decision-making process in a useful way. And you're going to have a fixed way of thinking, a fixed, reliable way of thinking that contributes to your inner authority. So I'll give you an example. You ever meet people where, how do I describe this? I was with some people yesterday, a couple real estate agents I was meeting with for the staging business. And I got an awareness while one guy was talking. I was like, oh, he has a defined ajna. I heard it in consciousness because he had such a fixed way of thinking around the value and the role of history in culture. He was like, everything he said came back to well, historically, if you look at it, and it felt very correct and useful. It didn't feel like a defensive energy. Like when you feel something feels defensive with people, chances are good they're acting from the not self. Not always, but often. Anyway, I'm projecting on that guy. Who knows? But that was my sense of it with him was like, oh, he's got a defined ajna, meaning he's got a fixed way of thinking about reality.
Yeah.
And his fixed way of thinking is reliable for him. He can believe in it. He can rely on it. Now, it doesn't mean it's how he makes best decisions. He's still going to need to follow his strategy and authority. So let's say he had emotional authority. He's still going to need to ride that emotional wave. But while he's riding it, he can rely on the thoughts coming through his head to a certain degree.
Got it.
He can't make decisions from there, but he can rely on that fixed way of functioning that his mind. You don't have any fucking definition in your head. So everything coming through your head is, you got a lot of creativity because you're open to everything. And this is where you and I connect, is I have open head and ajna too. So we get playful, we do improv, everything's possible, but we have no fixed way of functioning in the head.
Right.
So it's not reliable in terms of like actually deciding stuff.
So, and that can present challenges in the world, the 3D world that we live in terms of like
totally
moving forward with a business or having a 5-year plan or,
right. Which is probably not for you.
Getting your 401k in order or whatever.
Which all of those are culturally programmed ideas.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, so cool. So we move to the G center, lost with no direction, but you are free to be no one or anyone. So you could be anyone, like an actor.
What?
Or you could be no one. Doesn't matter. The ego.
I feel like both of those are very true.
Right?
That's how I feel lately. Like, yeah, I'm an actor. I'm totally not an actor also.
That's because you're free to be no one.
And I'm still getting by, paying rent, being life, having a good time.
You're like, what I love about that G center one is if it were free, open, mine is defined. So mine is like, no, I am this thing and I have to be this thing. And this is my direction and I'm going in it. But I don't have the open G center, but I find it very fascinating because I notice with open G center people, they have the not self theme of the G center is really strong for people in this world because we're all programmed and conditioned to believe we're supposed to like find out who we are and know what our direction is. Well, maybe not. Not necessarily, because in your case, all you have to do is follow your emotional authority and you'll get where you're meant to go. There is no defined sense of Cassidy Brown, not in the G center.
But meant to go is even a programmed idea in my head. When you say meant to go, I think, oh, you mean my role that I have to play, like, which is a defined thing. So it's a language gets in our way on that one a little bit.
A language is always problematic. But another way to say it would be like, you'll find your life working well and you'll feel satisfied and fulfilled with what you're doing in the day if you're following your strategy and authority. So the whole thing with generators they talk about in human design is what you're pursuing is satisfaction and fulfillment.
And my strategy is to respond.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the big one.
Yeah. Your authority is to follow that emotional wave until it gets to the neutral place of clarity.
And that respond thing is interesting because that also brings it back to other people in the sense that like, I need the world to give me something to respond to.
True.
And so which then places my authority outside of myself or my agency somewhat. The trap I can get caught in with that is that I place my agency outside myself in order to like, because I need them to get something to respond to. But then whatever they are giving me is going to influence my decision-making process because it's what they want.
Well, so how we would reframe that is you're part of life and you need to respond to life.
Yeah.
But you don't respond through their authority. You respond through your authority.
Right.
So you're responding to life, meaning you're part of it. You're standing in a coffee shop and other people are there.
Right.
But you're not going to do what they want. You're going to do what your emotional authority tells you to do.
Right.
Over
Just because I'm
time.
in a coffee shop doesn't mean the guy behind me who wants me to order a flat white, fuck you, I want a mocha.
And you may need to like hang out in that coffee shop for 2 hours to have clarity emotionally on what you want.
Do I want a mocha?
Exactly.
Actually, I don't want a mocha. Ugh, God, mocha, that's fattening. That's terrible. I shouldn't do it. God, but it's so tasty. I really want. Sure.
Yeah, sounds like the mind.
Nah.
Exactly. Okay, good job. Ego. Let's look at your open ego. Got this open heart, and this one has no gates coming off of it. So you're like dunzo with that guy in this life, if you so choose. Hurt, envy, lack. Anytime you're in hurt, envy, or lack, you're in the not self theme of the open ego. How do you get out of it? You'd say to yourself, you have the freedom. You're free to give up.
This is very relevant to my current state. if I may. I definitely have been, on the one hand, I actually think I've been pretty in line with that. Like my ego, whereas I love to have my ego stroked, but I am not attached to it. I'm not easily insulted. You can say shit to me and I'll be like, yeah, let me try that, for the most part. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. And.
Or, okay. Yeah. Thanks for the feedback or whatever. Like a bad review doesn't really wound me or freak me out. It's just like, all right, cool. Someone paid attention to me. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
That's one thing. So I'm pretty good with the no ego thing, I think. I'm pretty in line with that. However, recently I've been banging into it a little bit. Like I keep going like, I should go see a play. And I'm realizing I can't see a play that I could have been in right now.
Okay.
Because my ego feels bruised.
Okay.
About not being invited to that party.
Right.
So I can go see a play that I'd have nothing to do with, like, a grand musical or an all black cast or, something that I just doesn't concern me in the sense of my ego's not involved with it. All I'm saying is I'm acknowledging that I'm not in alignment with that open ego thing right now in that one little aspect of my life. And it's good to like note that and be like, or just release it.
You totally are in alignment because you're saying I'm free to give up. I give up the need to see that play. I don't have to see that play.
Yeah. And the reason I don't have to see that play is because it bruises my ego right now a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've noticed. I realized that my ego is a little bruised and okay.
Right.
And I don't have to overcome that and be like, no, that's wrong. Go see the play because
that's the deal.
Your ego. Yeah. Like your ego can or cannot be involved, I guess is what you're saying.
Well, it's just simpler than that. It's like, are you in hurt, envy, or lack? What are you hurt about? Well, you're free to give up.
All right.
You're free to let go. It's like you may not easily let go. You may need to process it to let go, but you're free to let go. Meaning, if you had a defined ego heart center right here, there would be certain things it would be correct for you to be willfully egoic about. But it's not actually correct for you to be willfully egoic. Now, why is that? Because it's going to lead to, if you look over here, the not self theme for the manifesting generator, which is your type, is frustration. So if you want to not be in your not self, meaning if you want to be who you are and at peace and fulfilled and satisfied, you probably want to do things that don't create frustration. So if you go to that play, are you going to feel frustrated? Yes. So going to that play would be acting from the not self theme of the open ego, hurt, envy, lack. I feel hurt, so I should go. I should get over it.
Right.
I envy those guys, so I should get over it. I shouldn't be so, should. Any should really is coming from conditioning.
Yeah.
But here's a simpler. It's all much simpler. If it's going to create frustration for you, don't do it if you have an open ego.
Yeah.
If you want peace and satisfaction and fulfillment.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
All right. Now we come to the splenic center, not self-theme of the open spleen. I'm scared and holding on. Right? Like we get afraid of things. I don't want to change. So I'm going to hold on. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to stay. I'm going to hold tight. Make sure I don't lose it. Hold on to it. Scared. Hold on. The freedom of the open spleen is I'm open to letting go. I don't have to hold on to it. Whatever the it is. Does that make sense?
I'm open to letting go to letting go of the thing that I'm feeling fear about.
Well, usually people hold on to things when they're afraid.
Like security or whatever.
Yeah.
Money or whatever it is.
I mean, I guess I would honor you and acknowledge you, but the way you do romantic relationship is pretty open spleeny and open ego-y because you're like, well, I'm gonna let go. I don't have to hold on to Denise.
Right.
We love each other, and then when Denise is with Denise's husband, Denise, I let go. I'm not holding on.
No, that's true.
Except for when you're holding on because you're scared. Then you're acting from the not self.
Yeah.
But then you look at someone like my ass, I have a defined splenic thingy shebang bang. So I have a fixed way of functioning in the spleen. So I need things to be this way, not this way, this way. But you don't have that need.
Right.
You're open there.
Yeah.
Which complicates things. Let's be real. Having a lot of open centers makes things complicated. But it also gives you a lot of flexibility, which a lot of people judge, particularly in the creative fields, is good.
Right. We hold a value to it. Yeah, this is the thing that I'm noticing. It's like the challenge of like, so yours needs to be fixed. And from my point of view, well, that limits you. Then you are limited by that fixed need, and you just need to let go of, I'm going farther than I need to with it, but like, well, then you just need to get over that need for fixed and be more open because it's hurting you to be so fixed, as opposed to how do I work with that need for fix, or how do I?
Well, human design would say, I'm fixed. There's no need for fixed. It just is that way. In other words, I will be frustrated if I don't function the way my defined spleen functions. You will be frustrated, however, if you try to make your splenic system fixed. Yours is open, so nobody's wrong.
I love this.
It's just different. It's great, right? All right, last one. You got an open root. Now, there's a really important shit to say about the open root, but we'll come back to that. The not self theme of the open root is I can't keep up. And the freedom is you're open to rest and do less. So the programming of the open root will say, an open root, this is how they talk about it. They say an open root person always feels like people are doing stuff. I should be doing stuff. I should get out there and do stuff. And why am I not doing enough stuff? I can't keep up. How is everybody doing all this? Okay, I'm gonna muster the energy. I'm gonna push myself. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna make myself do more stuff. That's all programming from an open root. The not self theme would be, I have to keep up. I can't keep up. I have to keep up. I can't keep up. The freedom is you're free to do less and rest more. So here's something to know about the open root, though, is they say a lot of times open root people feel this extra pressure to do stuff. The reason is everybody around you who has a defined root, because the root is what's called a motor center. It's not an awareness center. It's a motor center. So it's like it runs like a motor. It's not aware. It's not conscious. It's just like grrr, grrr, like a motor running, energy running. When I stand next to you with my defined root, which I have one of, you're going to amplify that defined root energy in your open root. And you're going to be like, oh shit, I really should do stuff now. How do I keep up with Katie? I can't. Well, I could do more stuff. Let me force myself to do more stuff. Then I can keep up with Katie. And then if I walk away from your auric field, which by the way, it's about 15 feet outside your body. So if I'm at least 15 feet away from you, if not more, you're going to feel a kind of release of some of that pressure. You're going to be like, okay, I can rest and not really do a lot of stuff. I don't really care. Katie's not here. Conditioning me to feel like I got to do more stuff. Just by standing here, not with her psychology, not with her intention, not because she's mean, not because she's nice. She's just standing here. Her aura does that to my aura, period.
Yep. Cool. I like it.
All right. So that's a lot of info about all these open centers you have and how to not function from the not self theme of each one. The real short answer of how do you function from your true self is just follow your emotional solar plexus authority. Wait through that emotional wave. Don't act until you get to neutrality. So like, I'll give you an example too of how this plays out. You and I both have emotional definition in the authority. So when we argue, one of us or both of us is at the height of some part of the emotional wave. Yeah. But then whenever we go away from each other and then let it ride, we both get back to neutrality and go like, hey, so I really love you. And like, I didn't really care. And I don't even know what that was about.
Right. Why was I so fired up about that?
Yeah. We're just
very specific word
communicating at an emotional wave height moment when we should wait through it. Now that's hard to do when you're having an interaction because humans are human and we're flawed and we can't do it perfectly. So, but it is something to be aware of because it does help. It helps me, I'll tell you, with the emotional wave, go like, cool, I'm having this much of a big feeling about this. I'm going to wait 48 hours before I click send on that email.
Yeah.
48 hours, man.
Yeah.
Good shit.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm super into this and I can keep going with it. Do you want to tell me about those 3 defined centers and how those operate?
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you what I can tell you about them as I'm in the process of learning, but one thing I want to look up real quick, yes is the answer. And let me look up one thing here. I want to look up tribal circuitry, human
circumcision. It showed up on your autocomplete.
Tribal circumcision. Just going to pull this up so I don't speak out of my ass about this point. I'm pretty sure about it, but let's
look at my ass.
Okay. Outer and then those lines. All right. Got it. So interesting. All right. You have one individual circuit, this guy right here, a channel that's in the individual circuitry, and you have one channel that's in the collective circuitry. So you're half individual, half collective.
That tracks.
Right? Yeah. So I have, if you were to look at my chart, all individual circuitry, almost all. And I have a couple. Anyway, I got more than you have.
And you'd probably say that you are self-pres when it comes to Enneagram as far as your instincts.
1,000,000%.
And I would mostly say that I'm social.
Yeah.
I think my stack is social, self-pres, sexual.
Social, self-pres, sexual. Got it. Yeah.
Because I do have a self-pres urge in me, about, just making sure that my finances are in order, that my shit is taken care of. Although maybe it's more sexual because this idea, sorry, this is a little off topic, but this idea recently that came through, I think Rami was saying about that the syntony sexual one-to-one version of that is this idea of seducing those around you to take care of you. And I think that is kind of true. I've always had partners that had homes or whatever, things like that the way my self-pres operates is by getting other people to take care of me.
Interesting.
So actually, I think I take it back. My stack is social, syntony, self-pres as far as the order.
So syntony is another way of saying sexual?
Uh-huh. Or one-to-one.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what syntony means. It's just another word they use.
Let's read what this says. Collective circuitry is about survival of humanity on the larger scale. It's bigger groups of people or ideas like government, organizations, large ruling bodies, and it's about knowledge, logic, and experience. It's made up of the sensing circuit and the logic circuit. Everything starts as an individual idea, then the tribe adopts it, and then it becomes part of the norm. The collective speculates what's to come next based on lessons from the past, using logic. It also reflects the potential and possibilities for the future and shares inspired stories and ideas. This circuit is about timing. The collective has to be ready to accept the new ideas. Yeah, this makes sense to me. So I'm just going to look at what... You actually don't have a lot of tribal at all. You have one collective and one... this guy is collective and this guy's individual in terms of your channels. Now remember, a channel is two gates that meet.
Okay.
And form a big old chan. This is a gate, but this is a channel. Okay.
Got it.
So fun homework for you would be, if you thought this was fun, to look up this channel and what it's about. What is the 3635? I think that's 56. No, 3635 channel, human design. And then what is the 3420? Now, interestingly, I want to tell you one thing. I would also have you look up your profile, which is the 1-3. And I can show you right here where you would look that up. If you go here, resources, on everybody listening, it's jovianarchive.com. Click resources, then click free media library, and go over here to the profile series, and then listen to his 2-minute audio on the 1-3, which is right here.
Cool. I'm in.
Okay. I think the only thing that's relevant right now, but lest we get down a really crazy rabbit hole, is that if you look here, you are single definition. Oh, I'm so jealous. That's one I'm really jealous of. Rami's single definition as well. Single definition means all of your defined centers are connected by channels. See this? This guy talks to this guy who talks to this guy directly. Now, if they were split, like let's say this guy were a gate and not a channel, that would mean this defined center can't really talk to or hear this little island of defined channels that are connected. The reason that's relevant is that you have kind of your being inside of you talks to all the parts that are consistent, all the defined parts, the consistent, reliable parts of you. They can all hear each other quite clearly.
So they can work as a team.
Yep. And you don't need anybody else to come into your auric field to influence you with a new gate to quote, quote, bridge your split. I do. I have split definition. So I literally need people in my auric field to make it possible for different parts of me to hear each other. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting. And that you literally just need them standing next to you.
Yep.
But you need certain people. You need people that have the right gates and channel combination.
Mm-hmm. But they say one thing to do is just go to a coffee shop a lot.
And just be around enough people that the numbers will work in your favor. And is it that you have a gate that's going to be halfway on that way and they need the gate that's at the other end of that?
Correct.
That pathway?
To create a channel.
Great.
So that my defined centers can all hear one another inside myself.
Oh, this is fun. I guarantee I'm going to hang out with Denise this afternoon. I guarantee we're going to spend hours making like a transparency and overlaying our two things together and talking about.
You can do that on the website. You can put them together and it shows you. It's called having a connection chart. You do that on mybodygraph.com. You can put both charts in and it'll show you a lot of cool shit. Where do you have compromise channels? Where do you have dominance channels? Where do you have electromagnetic channels? All of those mean different things. But last thing I just want to say about this here, I wish we could show the listeners what we're looking at, but all his defined centers talk to each other directly through channels. But interestingly, too, your sacral center, which is the part of us that we refer to in this world as your gut knowing, where you go, uh-huh, or uh-uh. Your gut is like, yeah, I want tacos. Or no, tacos, no, uh-huh. It's directly connected through a conscious channel. The black ones are conscious personality channels. Your feeling in your gut is directly connected, Cass, to your throat. So you have...
Does that mean I got to talk it out?
Yes. And it means you're not going to have a problem being like, yes, I want that. And I can say that to you. And I have a fixed way of communicating. So I will fixedly say to you what I want because I know what I want and I can hear what I want. And it goes right to my words. You ever hang out with people where you're like, wow, that person had a hard time forming words around stuff?
Yeah.
Or you ever hang out with someone who's like, they seem like they don't know what they want, or they do know what they want, but they don't know how to tell you?
Yeah.
You ever experience that?
Sure.
That speaks to one or both of these guys being open as opposed to defined.
Okay.
So people with an open throat up here, this throat center, are going to have a hard time like consistently knowing how to say stuff. They're going to be tongue-tied. They're going to they're going to stumble on their words, etc. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't have that. And in fact, you have it connected directly to your awareness, and you have it connected to your emotional authority. Boom. So as soon as you're like, emotionally, I'm aware that this is true, you can say it quite clearly. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
And they say in human design, when you have something defined in your chart, it's going to be very hard for you to imagine a world in which someone doesn't have that. And these tend to be the things we take for granted in ourselves. People look at you and go, wow, he knows just how he feels, just what he wants, and what to say about it. I wish I were like that.
Right.
And you're like, what? So what?
That's just what it is.
That's just life.
Do you think, I'm looking at this sort of this triumvirate here, and I'm thinking about my specific thing that I've noted over the years about, like, if I want to sort of actually fall into an emotion, I have to speak it out. Like sometimes if I'm like trying to, get to an idea or a feeling, and if I finally just say the words that are true, then I'll start bawling. But like, I can't
true for me too.
Do it until I say it. Like I can sit there in my head or in my body and go like, I'm really sad and blah, 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 blah. But it's not there. It's not activated. But that if I am truly feeling sad or frustrated or angry and I say, oh, I'm sad about that. If I actually use words to describe what it is I'm feeling, you've seen it happen 100 times.
Totally. 100%. That's this.
And I feel like that's that's all three of those acting together. It's the emotional knowing with the throat, or emotional gut truth throat.
Sounds right to me. Yeah, there's more I have to learn about all of that, what we're just talking about, but that sounds about right. I mean, you described it really beautifully. So there you have it. It would be really cool when you look with Denise to see if she has a defined route and to see what, or not, and what that does to your field. And also look at which gates does she have that complete any of these channels. So like, does she have this one? Does she have this one? Does she have this one? Anywhere she's got gates that are, so this is called a hanging gate because it's hanging and it's looking for the energy of the 22. The 12 is looking across the channel for 22. So if she has 22, you're going to be like, she's got that 22. Now I can be the energy of 1222.
A gate can only come, oh no, that's not true. I was going to say, it looks like a gate can only come from a fixed, but there's an open one that has a hanging gate there.
Yeah, you got a couple of open ones with hangings. They do say that hanging gates coming off of open centers mean this is like something you're working through in this life still. Like, in other words, you're free not to think and you're free to be uncertain, but something in your ajna is working through this 11-ness. So I would look up, what is the 11 about? Your ajna is also working through this issue of the 47. So I would look up, what is the 47? And you'd be like, oh my God, I am working through that stuff.
But anywhere that's just fully open in all the directions, like, you're good. You're done with that. Move. Yeah.
Yeah. this is useless to you. This is useless. And this guy is, you got 3 just like not relevant. So I'm really, really free to not engage with them. I'll give you an example. Mine, this here, head and ajna, both totally open, no gates hanging off. So I'm really free to not think in any way and not be certain ever. That's why I'm all.
Oh, so no, they're both the centers are undefined and there's no gates anywhere.
Right.
Wow.
Try managing your calendar from that.
And then add to that the digital chaos that exists in your life.
So there you go, everybody. Cassidy Jamal Brown's human design.
That was fun.
Basic levels broken down in public for America to see and hear and know about. Are you listening to this and would you like to have your human design chart read? You probably should go to katierubin.com and pick any of those private sessions, book it, and we'll fucking figure your shit out.
Fucking figure your shit out. Well, I just got, it's just one of the bonuses of being your podcast partner. Is I get readings all the time. I get katierubin.com. I don't have to go to katierubin.com.
I am katierubin.com.
Shit, what was her new tagline going to be?
Slip it in and put it down. Strap it on, slip it in.
Strap it on and slip it in, everybody. Oh, I love it.
Who needs to do their work when you can just strap it on and slip it in?
Well, sometimes you got to work towards that, you know?
I also liked the statement you made where you're like, well, those are the only things you're interested in. Vitamin D and woo-woo stuff.
That's it. And moving, apparently, is the third
and moving.
Thing. And leaving where you are. Do we need to talk any more about that, Katie?
I don't think so. I'm really like committed to following my emotional wave on it. I'm really like, you know what? I've learned so much about this in these recent years. And like, I'm also learning a lot about like how divine guidance relates to all this, you know? Like, I mean, I really sat with the New York move for a long time. And I knew coming here, the astrology was going to be tough on me. All the cards I pulled were like, well, this will be challenging, but challenge is good for you.
Oh, I thought it was all greased wheels except for the trip itself.
No. Like the guidance, the spiritual guidance from the records was like, definitely go, definitely do that. But it wasn't, but when I would pull cards, it was like, I should show you the card I kept getting. I don't have that deck near me, but it was the card of, it's called, what is that called? It's called The Dragon's Lair.
Jesus.
And it's a picture of like a dragon flying above like an ice castle and there's like flames coming out of its butthole. It's like really ominous. But the message of it is like, okay, it's going to be challenging. It's not going to be easy times, but this is like how you learn the most, the quickest is through deep, profound challenge. And now I'm like, cool. Did that. How about ease?
Can I have some of that?
And I know some stuff about astrologically where that would be for me. So we're going to explore some of it. But I'm just committed to I'm not like packing up tomorrow. I'm like, let's just be in the breath and feel the feelings and wait.
Well, hopefully I can come out there maybe in July. I'm going to try and get out to
Please come.
New York area. And yeah.
Really? Would you come? Are you coming to see rom-com?
Yeah, and then I make a trip up there, hang out with you for a couple of days.
Please, I have a full room for you. We have so many things: nature, hiking, river, me, you.
Yes.
All my fixed ways and all your openness. It works great.
Let's do some improv. Oh God, that's a whole other subject. Where our gates and channels like cross up or conflict or whatever when it comes to like our improv styles.
True.
And how we can work with them being complementary as opposed to resistant to each other.
Totes. I only have one thing I ever get into resistance about with you on improv. One.
Wait, can I guess?
Yes.
It's talking a lot with Sam. Like when Sam and I get on a what is it called? It's interrupt. Oh, I just heard this language thing. Super interesting. Whole other topic.
Tell me.
It's different communication styles, and one of the splits was the language is going to be wrong, but it was basically one that was cooperative interruption. That's not quite right, or collaborative interruption.
All right.
Which is like going yeah, and ba 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 ba. Okay, da da cha 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 cha. Interrupt. Yeah. And the other is polite's not the right word, but like aggressive politeness is not it, but
conscientious waiting.
Yeah. And it's literally waiting until it has completed, and then I will say my piece.
Right.
Because I would never think to interrupt you.
That's Eric Vogler.
And that the people who have different versions of that, there's a value judgment then gets implied of like, well, you're clearly not listening because you're not interrupting me.
1,000,000%.
Or you're clearly not letting me in because I need to wait until I can be let in.
Yes.
Right. And I feel like you have a hybrid because you're a cooperative interrupter, but you also you can't poke in.
I totally hear you. Okay, first of all, there's two topics here now. One, that's not how I would frame my resistance to you in improv.
Great.
You and Sam talking a lot.
Yeah.
But I hear what you mean.
Yeah.
The way I would frame it is, you guys can both be so mental and speedy on top of each other. It's
right.
related to what you're saying, that there's no present, that we can't ever move slow. Like for a scene to just slowly evolve and open and find its way emotionally. It's like you guys have already solved all the problems and you're head.
Sure.
And I love watching it. And I even love doing it. But after a while, I get frustrated. That's where I get frustrated. I'm like, can somebody breathe and take a 20-minute pause with me? But the answer is no.
No, we can't do that. Is that what you were going to say was your frustration with me?
That was where I go to resistance with you in improv.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just a slightly different kind of framing of a version of what you're saying. But it's not about you and Sam doing it together and me being outside of it. It's more just if people were breathing and we were feeling, you would feel that I need to come in here. But there's no feeling. There's just thinking and talking and thinking and talking.
Right. And this is where we could get into our where our different channels are overlapping or resistant to each other. That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, you've got we just saw your fucking gut and your emotions are directly connected to your throat. Mine are not. Well, one of them is, but through an unconscious channel. Anyway, there's a lot to say.
So the words come easily.
And fast.
And fast. There's no break between those. Yeah.
Yeah. We should really look at what those gates are coming off your open centers in your head and ajna.
Fun. Let's have a meeting with you, me, and Sam and like do all of our
genius
stuff.
I love that.
You know what? Sam's coming on next week, so.
Oh, right.
So
let's do it.
Well, maybe it's just going to continue that topic.
If he's open to it, I'm down.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
All right, listeners, KatieRubin.com, book your shit. We love you. Do your work and strap your dick on.
Strap it in, lube it on, strap it up and slip it in.
Rub it down, slip it.
Flip it up, down, flip it in, reverse it.
And bye.
Bye.
You asking for all of the answers? Say what? All of the answers? Yeah, all the answers.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. We'd love to hear from you. Please email us with your questions so that we have questions to answer in the Akashic Records. Our email address is allanswerspod@gmail.com. That's allanswerspod@gmail.com. And if you'd like to find us on Facebook or Twitter, it's @allanswerspod, @allanswerspod. Thank you.
Muting all the stuff, muting. How do I mute on Zoom?
Mixed and edited by Desmond McNeese for We Mixed It, LLC. Go to whatsoundsawesome.com.
There's a stain on my notebook where your coffee cup was. Oh, there's